So, good news and bad news. Uh, the bad news is that my recording on OBS didn't work properly.
Oh,
So, basically, what's happened was that all of the recording that we were doing, it was picking up my voice, but it wasn't picking up anything that you were saying
okay.
because I had forgotten to activate a setting in OBS to allow that to happen. So,
Okay.
this morning, like last night, I realized that that had happened. And this morning, I went in and did a little fandangling with the program. And I just double checked to make sure that I could hear you. And we're good to go. So,
Nice.
today's video brought to you by a rebranded Streamlabs OBS. So your voices will be able to get picked up on the second recording program, and it will be that recording that I will post for other people to watch.
So can I ask, would this be public or is it going to be a private link like your other one?
I am going to make the once the video gets finished, I will upload it to YouTube, and it will be a. It's not going to be a public link, so it will be. I can't remember what it's called. There's public, private, and then there's something in between. The
Yeah,
something in between basically says if you have the link, you can watch it. But if you
right.
don't have the link, you cannot see it. So,
Yeah.
Interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's a security feature in YouTube, and YouTube
Cool.
is the best way to actually share the videos because the video is stored on the Google Cloud, not necessarily in the YouTube channel that or the Facebook, the DCU Facebook page.
Yeah. Sure.
So yeah. So sorry about the mix-up there, but it happens.
Does.
And this video too will probably like today. There's only really two main things that I want to talk about today in terms of what you can do, like two or three things. So I'm going to keep this fairly short. I don't want you guys wasting away your Saturday by not, enjoying whatever time you have left before school starts.
Beautiful
Oh,
day in Gyeongju.
it is. Wow. That's
Mhm.
nice.
I like my view.
Yeah.
So Robert, you live in Gyeongju?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, so you just travel back and forth to school every day when you have to teach?
Well, yeah. Just take the train.
Oh,
Um,
okay. I didn't realize you were that far out.
Oh, I am.
Okay. Wow, that's cool.
Well, after 7 years of living in Hayang in a one-room apartment, I wanted to try something different.
Oh, nice. That's all right.
well, that's
Yeah, and now that I'm not living in a one-room apartment, I'm like, why did I ever live in a one-room apartment?
That's nice. How long does it take you to get in from where you are to the school every day?
5-minute car ride to the train station, 40-minute train ride, 10-minute walk.
That's not bad.
And the train ride's beautiful between Sogyeongju and Yeongchun.
Okay.
After that, it gets sort of urban, but the first 20 minutes is just gorgeous countryside.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, I really enjoy it.
That's cool.
I spend too much time looking out the window. I should be reading a book or something.
Or preparing for your lessons. Actually, that's a perfect. That 40 minutes is a perfect
That's true.
way of just
Yep.
getting yourself into
In
that
the right
mindset.
mindset, yep.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
perfect.
I have a quick funny story about that. So when I used to work at Dunguk, when I first started working, I just walked. I lived across the bridge from the university,
Okay.
and it took me about 15, maybe 20 minutes to walk there.
Okay.
So I did that for like the first semester, and then I bought a bicycle. So I started riding my bike to work, and I just couldn't help myself. I always wanted to pedal fast. So instead of the nice leisurely walk, I would get to the office and I would be it'd like take me a minute to calm down, and I'm like, wow. Because
That's
when I was
fun.
walking across the bridge, I'm thinking about work and I'm starting to just get in the mood, and yeah, so
Right.
that was sort of funny.
Right. So now I understand a little bit more about the post that you said on Facebook in terms of getting a motorcycle. Now I understand why that is, because my thought was, why would he need a motorcycle in Haiyang? He's just around the corner. But now I'm putting two to two together and realizing that's why you said that. You've got your motorcycle license, I assume. Not yet. Okay. Oop, there we go. Oh, your mic might have come out of it's not coming in anymore.
Yeah, it was making a funny noise before.
I think that was might have been some wind coming from
Yeah,
the
that's
window. Um, you might have accidentally actually muted the actual physical headset. Louise is here. Hello, Louise. How are you?
Hi.
Hey, wonderful to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Yeah, how was your summer vacation?
Uh, well, usually I travel a lot, so this was a little bit more boring.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Not being able to do much.
Yeah, but it was okay. Not too bad.
Right on. Very good.
But you?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I mean, I generally don't travel that much during the summer anyway, at least out of the country. I mean,
Yes.
we did, my family and I, we did like little day trips and
Yeah, me too.
went here and there and drove hither thither, and it was quite nice, actually. It was quite nice.
Yeah,
So,
sometimes it's nice not to do a big trip.
yeah, that's good. Well, welcome. I'm so glad you were able to come in today and get some impromptu help
Yeah, well, I think it's good. As you said, it's good that to actually physically do the meeting before you actually do it with the students.
yeah.
Yeah.
It just gives everybody a little bit more of that feeling of confidence. It's like, okay, I've done this. I've done it once. There weren't any problems. My stress level has gone down, so I think I might be able to do this. And
Yeah.
that's I mean, that in and of itself, I think is the biggest reason to do something like this. Just to get your hands dirty in some of the little mechanics. I'm not gonna like I was saying before. I'm not gonna do a whole lot today because I don't want to waste your Saturday.
Yes.
And but I'm going to touch on two or three points that I think are some of the more important aspects of using Zoom with your students. If you use these every day in your classes, you'll be golden.
Okay, great.
There's so many other things that you can do, but I don't want to really get bogged down in the weeds, as they say,
Yes.
because that's just going to go, oh my God.
And also, we can ask questions later if we want to do something else.
Absolutely. Yeah. I still can't hear you, Robert. No. What I would do is maybe, let's see. unplug your headset. Okay, I can hear you now.
Yeah.
So it's something wrong with the headset. Check the mute settings on.
I'm not using a headset, just my computer.
No. No sound. Oh, I can hear you, but you're really, really low. So maybe volume up. Okay, you'll need to ramp up the volume on the mic because it's still a little bit hard to hear. No. The volume settings in your computer might you could turn them up too.
And this is why we need to do a practice run.
That's right. Well, Robert was doing really well yesterday. There was no problems at all. Maybe just use your laptop sound for now, if that will be easier. Oh, you know what? Make sure the pin in your earpiece is actually fully put in. It might. I don't know whether it's All right, I can hear you, but just a little bit. Yeah, you might just unplug it from your laptop and then just use your the laptop microphone. Might be better.
So what's the difference now?
Oh, huge difference. Yeah, huge
The
difference.
difference is we can hear you.
Yeah.
Huh, all right. Well,
That's
thank
weird.
you. Okay.
That's weird. All right. Okay, it is 11 o'clock. Welcome, everybody. So good to have you here again. I did want to just touch on, just to do a little recap from yesterday, especially because, Louise, you weren't here. And it turned out that my recording from yesterday was completely gone. It just did,
Oh no!
it did not work properly. So yeah, I got the problem fixed. It's all good now. So the first thing is the first thing that we did yesterday was kind of shared the idea about why we were feeling stressed about online learning in the first place, and just kind of free talked that issue out a little bit together, which I think even just talking about that allowed for people to be a little bit more comfortable with it, because that nervousness wasn't held in as much. So that was really good. The second thing I talked about, or that we talked about, was kind of some technology tips for people to have either like to have a better quality setup without having to break the bank. And so we talked a little bit about that. There were about 5 or 6 things that we discussed there. The one thing that I had forgotten to mention was actually issues of lighting. Because lighting is one of those things that can make or break your students being able to see you very effectively. Mm-hmm. Even though you might not have the best video camera, the webcams built into laptops are usually 720, so the density of pixels is not as much as 1080p or 4K, obviously. But having lighting can be very, very effective in getting your message across, because people will actually be able to see your eyes properly. They'll be able to see your facial reactions more appropriately. And you're also not going to have what I have on my camera right now, which is a little bit of side shadow. Okay. So, and I've done this on purpose. So to this side here, I've got a nice big window, and it's bringing natural light on one side of my face. But this side of my face is a little darker. Now, I have a little light up there that I'm going to turn on, and I'm going to set it so that my face has about the same amount of light on each side to cut out that shadow. So hang on one second. Let me show you. Okay, so now you have both sides of your face basically, or both sides of my face unshadowed, which just presents just a clearer image for the students to be able to see. There are going to be times when the students themselves do not have particularly good lighting, and really there's probably nothing you can do about that. But make sure at least they have an overhead light on so that the room itself is being filled with light. You're probably still going to have some shadows on those student faces, but something is better than nothing.
Do you have like a special light for video calls?
I actually just a few days ago just bought a little USB charger light. It was about that big. I think it's about $20, and I've actually hung it up off of my ceiling so it just hangs there. I take it off, plug it in, charge it. It charges in about 30 to 40 minutes. Plug it back in, and it's good to go.
Okay.
So what I think I'm going to do though is I'm actually going to buy a longer, like 2 or 3 meter cable, and just run that cable right down into my computer, so that it will have a constant flow of energy and it won't start to trickle, like start to die down halfway through my class. So that's something that I'd forgotten to mention yesterday, but I wanted to do that today.
Okay.
So let me just ask you this, Louise, because you're new to this whole thing. In the first semester, how were you organizing your classrooms with the online system that we had? What was your...
I was not using live lessons.
Okay.
I was recording on a video and uploading it.
So
the live lessons are new to me.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think that seemed to be more the case where most people who were coming here at least were doing the majority kind of uploading and not as much with live teaching. So that's okay. Let me ask you this. How do you think, how did your students respond to a primarily video recorded based lesson? Because I didn't do that. So my students had a completely different setup. So I'm curious to know how your students reacted, or what kind of feedback did you get from them about the recordings?
At first I was not sure, but it actually went fairly smoothly.
Okay.
Because I set up a band group and a cacao group, so we were able to constantly communicate with each other, even though we didn't actually see each other live.
Right.
So it went pretty smoothly, but of course, if you don't teach live, you can't have a conversation like we're having now. So that was missing. So I think it's good that we're, exploring more live interactions, so that they can practice speaking a bit more.
Yeah. I think, my primary reason for doing online classes was exactly that in the first term, is my thinking was, it's a conversation class. I'm not gonna have conversation with my students if I'm not engaged in that process. And for me, I found that the students were very, very receptive to the idea. I think they were a little miffed that I was still having classes at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Because I think the advantage of just uploading a video is that they can watch the lecture whenever they want.
Yeah.
They're not tied to a particular time. So
Yeah.
there are advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah. I think with the current semester being as it is, and the university saying everybody needs to teach online and everybody needs to teach at their appropriate time slot, I think that will just bring about a whole shift in the way that people are, and students in particular, are engaged in that process. So, if they have to be up for 9 o'clock in the morning to go to a Korean teacher's class, getting to my class at 11 o'clock probably isn't going to be a big deal because they're already up. All right. So there are a couple things that I want to go through with you today, and the first thing is going to be the settings of Zoom and what you can do kind of on the back end of the program to do a few little tweaks in the settings to make things a little easier for yourself and also for the students. So let me just do this here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with this here. Okay, there we go. So you are now in a share screen. Now, you don't have the share screen because you don't have that share screen button because you've come into my classroom and I'm the one leading it. So for you as teachers, you're going to have that share screen button. And the reason why I'm recording this on a second program is so that when I upload it, you're going to see all of the button presses that I do, that you then can be like, oh, that's where it is. Okay, I get it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go into my own account here for you. And this is the page that you would go into, and so this is me. So this is and I'm assuming that you can see this. Everything is okay?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. So you might want to just, you can either watch the video and then replay the settings section back at another time and then just go through and highlight what you need. Or, of course, you could take notes, contiguous notes right now and jot these things down. But you see right here, it says profile. I prefer to have a picture on my page so that students can actually see my face when they're logging in. You don't have to do this, but I think it's a nice little personal touch. And then you can add in these little things like your job title and where you're working, etc. Again, it's not necessary, but I think it's a nice touch. Meetings, webinars, and recordings, we're not really going to worry about. Meetings and webinars, we're not going to worry about. Don't even bother about it. Recordings, however, if we go to this side of the channel, you're going to see that there are two options. There's a cloud recording and there's local recording. Cloud recording, if you are a subscriber to the base program, which is about $16.50 a month, you get 1 gigabyte of storage for the cloud recordings. I don't record anything. As you can see, I don't have any recordings in this file because I do all of my recordings local to my own hard drive. And you can see, look at, I have 175 recordings. Okay, so these things here are basically telling me where my recordings are going. So what you will want to do, if you see over here it says settings, if you go into here, this takes you into the settings. Oh wait, that's hang on, I did that wrong. That's not what I wanted. Actually, if you go to, let's see, can you see that little screen there? Is that coming up? The little, there's a little there's a little secondary pop-up screen. Do you see that?
No, we're just.
No.
Okay, then I will not worry about that one right now. So what you can do basically is tell Zoom where your videos are going to go. And that you're going to find that, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in the settings. So that's where we're going to go first. Okay, so these are just the security features. There's been, when Zoom first came out, there was a lot of like Zoom bombing, as you know. My inclination is to think that a lot of those Zoom bombs on YouTube were actually fabricated. They weren't actually real. You know, like the guy sitting in a recliner chair, and the picture falls off, and he's sitting there like this, and the picture falls off, and he's in his underwear and t-shirt. Yeah, I don't think that actually happened, but again, that's just my personal opinion. It was just funny anyway. So the first thing you want is waiting room on. Absolutely. The reason is when you have your Zoom room open, when somebody comes in, you're going to see their name. And if that name matches your attendance, you can let them in. After a couple of weeks, you're going to recognize, oh, Gion's here. Great. Boop, and let them in. So there's no problem. But it is a way for you to make sure you're getting the right students in the classroom. Okay? The other thing is you might get a couple of students that are actually from different classes. Mm-hmm. They are from different classes and they're coming into the wrong class. You should let them in anyway and say, are you sure that you have Monday 11 o'clock? Because if you've got, are you sure, maybe 1 o'clock? Check your schedule. All right, so you want to be doing that on the first day as well. Passcode, don't worry about it because you're going to be setting them up in the waiting room anyway. I wouldn't worry about that. Where it says require passcode for personal meetings, you can have that clicked on, and then all meetings use PMI. That means that when they click on the link that you send them, they're automatically going to be coming into your class. So they don't have to type in a security code or anything like that. Basically what you did today. Click on the link in Facebook, boom, you're already into my class. One-click join, I have that. Passcode participants joining by phone. Actually, you can turn that off. It's no big deal. Host video, start meetings with host video on. Yes, I would recommend it. And participants video on as well. Okay. You might catch them in t-shirt and underwear, but that's their fault, not yours. Although I've never had that happen, so I don't foresee that being an issue. Telephone and computer audio, you want to have that checked. And personal ID meeting, you want that on. That gives your meeting a 9-digit code that the students might need, although if they have your direct link, they probably won't. Basic meeting, I think in terms of this, your basic settings are probably standard and okay. There's no problem there. Whatever is there is probably okay. However, what I would do is in the share screen, all right, we want this one right here, where it says share screening. Allow host and participants to share their screen during meetings. you want to have all participants checked on that. And there's a reason why that I'm going to explain a bit later. Who can start sharing when someone else is sharing, host only. Now the reason is you want people to share, but you don't want people to share multiple screens at the same time. That's just going to get way too confusing. You want one group at a time to be able to share their information. Allow saving of shared screens with annotations. Check. Absolutely, you want to be able to do that. That's a very important one. And whiteboard. Allow saving of whiteboard content. Check. Auto save whiteboard content when sharing is stopped. Check. And save as PNG. Those two things you want to be having as checked on. And I'm going to get to that when we're talking about the whiteboard and the breakout rooms a little bit more today. The breakout rooms basically is what we're doing right now. I'm sharing the screen and you're watching everything that I'm doing. So, for example, I'll just give you an example. I want you to pay attention to this right here. So now you've seen me draw on that screen because I'm trying to highlight that, or I'm putting a little asterisk beside it, or I might want to do something like this, right? So those are things that you can do as annotations in the breakout room or when you're sharing a screen. So let me clear all. There we go. And do that. All right, so allow saving content. That's important. Advanced tips. Report participants to Zoom. You probably can actually keep this off. I don't think you actually need it. I think it was automatically put on as part of the security feature. I don't think you need it because we should be able to handle a few students, I think, ourselves. Breakout room. This one, you definitely want that one activated. And allow host to assign participants to breakout rooms when scheduling, you want that checked as well. Now, I don't use this, but it's always a good idea to have it set up there anyway. Remote, don't worry about it. Closed captioning, don't worry about it. Save captions, don't worry about it. Far end camera control, don't worry about it. If that one is active, by the way, you can accidentally give your camera to somebody else and they will start taking lead on the in the Zoom class. You don't want that. that could be a disaster waiting for everybody. Group HD video, I would suggest turning this on because it allows for a greater clarity of video in the Zoom room itself. So I would do that. Virtual background, I would have this checked. It's a fun little thing that you can do. That's one of the getting into the weeds things with Zoom that I'm not going to talk about today, but I would highly recommend you just going in and trying that for yourself. Video filters, you could have that checked on. Virtual background and video filters kind of go together, so you can have those on. And I think everything is turned off. These things I've left on just by default. It's not a big deal. And then in the other section, I don't want to go down too far because I've got some codes down there. Yeah, okay, I don't want to go down any farther. Those are some personal codes. You don't want to be sharing those with your students because they can come in and basically hack your system. So don't do that. These things here, blur snapshot iOS test. It's on, but I don't use it. And default. Now, email invitation, actually, you can change this. There it is. You can change this to Korean, actually, so that when you send an invite to the students, they're going to receive that in Korean. rather than English. So that is something that you can do. I send it in English because I want as much of my system to be sent and received in English as possible. That's just a personal choice, but it's there for you.
Yeah, I've got intermediate students, so I think they're pretty good with reading English.
Yeah. Even the beginner students, I used English for everything in Zoom, and I didn't have any problems at all.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's as big a problem as what could be potentially made out. So that's the settings. Those are my settings. I would go in and look through all of those again for yourself. Turn certain things on, turn certain things off. If you're not sure what something is, by all means, you could send me a message, do a quick Google search or a YouTube video search to find out some of those parameters for yourself as well. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yep.
Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to stop share, and we're back to full screen. Now, what that setup was a share screen basically for everybody to see what I was doing at the same time. Now, there's another very important part of share screen. And Kevin, this is where that question comes in that you asked me yesterday about audio. I figured out how to do it. So, if you are by chance going to do a listening exercise, or maybe you want them to have a quick 3 or 4 minute YouTube video, what you're going to do, and this will be recorded for you on the second program, so you'll be able to watch what I'm doing. And let's make sure I've got my audio set up here. Yes, okay, there we go. It is on there. Okay, so I'm going to verbally explain the instructions even though you won't see what I'm doing right now. You will be able to see that in the follow-up recorded video. So I'm going to hit my share screen button, and down on the bottom left corner of the screen, it says Share Computer Sound. And that one you're going to want to check. Now, this is by default off. So whenever you turn Zoom off and you turn it back on again, you will probably need to make sure that check mark is there. All right? So you have to do this every time. Now, I'm going to share a screen, and I'm going to share it with you. And this time, you should be able to hear what is on the YouTube video. So here we go. All right. So now everybody sees that video. I'm assuming
Yes.
everybody sees it.
Yes.
All right. So now I've made the video big screen, and fingers crossed, here we go. Hopefully it'll work this time.
Create something and just draw it out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the bottom here and I'm going to click on Share Screen. Now what I'm sharing is the whiteboard. So let's go ahead and click on Whiteboard.
Now, did you guys hear that?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. So let me stop share there for a minute. So, Kevin, I know that you were talking about either things with music, because that's what you do sometimes, or doing listening exercises. That's how you can do a simultaneous listening exercise right in the class while you are doing the live feed. So I hope that answers.
I think that's important, to be able to pause the audio at a certain point and explain something that, maybe just happened. Maybe there's something in the middle of a portion of audio and you want to be able to pause it and say, oh, what did, what was meant by this that you just heard, or whatever. And so I didn't want to leave the listening all to them to do on their own. I like to go through it a little bit. So that's really helpful. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Now, you'll notice, I'm going to pick on Robert again, just like I did yesterday. You'll notice that Robert's screen is now black. Okay? Now, there's a reason why that is, because Robert is probably alt-tabbed out of Zoom, which means that he's looking at another page. Probably. I could be wrong, but it's probable that that's the case. Maybe he's looking at something in terms of a video or whatever. Now, I don't know if that's the case, but generally speaking, when you have a screen that goes black like this and it's a student doing it, they have opened up a second, maybe a search engine or something, or they're watching a video, or they're playing a video game while they're listening to me, but they're doing something else. During that occasion, what you would do is I would, up on the name, and you're going to see this in the video, there's a little, you can highlight the person's name, and you click the More button. Oh, hello, Robert. And it says, there's a little message that I will send to them. Please start your camera.
Okay.
So something goes to that person. Now, you could also just make them really embarrassed and say, would you stop playing video games or YouTube, please, blah, 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 because I know you're doing something other than listening to me in the class. So that's how you know that's something else.
So how do you do that again? How do you send the message?
Let's see here. You put your mouse over the person's name, and there's two blue buttons that come up. You'll see mute and more, and if you click the more button, you're not going to have that there because you're in the Zoom. Mm-hmm. But in that little pop-down menu or drop-down menu that comes up, it will say, please start video or something like that.
Okay, I've got chat and pin video.
Yeah, because you are not the leader of the Zoom, so so you're not going to have those additional drop down menu options. But as the teacher in the class, the one who's hosting the class, you're going to have those. You're going to have those drop down
options. Okay, I'll have more
options.
options as the leader.
That's right. Okay. That's correct. Yeah. So, again, just picking on Robert, just like I did yesterday. So, thank you, Robert. Now, so that's the first thing that you can do in terms of the audio, which I think is really, really helpful. Now, the flip side of that is most of your students are probably not going to have the book. Okay? Yeah. They're probably not going to have the book. Now, we have the book, which is great. And we've also been given these we've got these little USB files with our digital books.
Yes.
Now, what's great is that, and I'm going to use, let's see, I'm going to bring up a program from last semester, and I'm going to click on one here. Okay, I'm going to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm in my digital book. This is the National Geographic one. And I'm just going to bring this over to here. And I'm going to share screen again. And I'm going to have computer sound on. Share the screen.
Okay.
Now you should be able to see that screen, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay, let me make it a bit bigger here. Now what I can do is I can click on the play audio, which is right in the... Oh, hang on, let me get rid of this here.
And let's share this whiteboard.
Just a second. Let's pause that one, bring that down. So I should be able to do this.
Page 67. Exercise C.
Then what do you do?
First,
now you have done not only given them the digital book to look at, but you've also given them the audio at the same time. And if it's let's say a fill in the blanks, they don't need the book. All they need is to write down the word that's in that fill in the blanks.
Yes.
So that is something that you can do in that particular occasion. Now yes, Kevin.
That's really important. I don't know if you had this experience last semester, but in my experience last semester, students were exceedingly late getting the book. And I ended up having to scan, because they were all at home. They were all in, like, Ulsan or Busan or Gyeongju or Kumi, wherever they're from.
Yep.
And they all, like, order the book online. And some of them didn't have the book until, like, week 3 and week 4.
Yeah.
So having this is brilliant. So just to recap, you have to share the screen and have to share the audio, and then you're able to do it almost exactly the same as you did it in class, in the actual classroom, right?
That's right. That's right. And this is.
I did
sorry.
those
Go ahead.
screenshots. Oh, sorry.
No. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Do you have this problem where you interrupt each other?
Not in a Korean class because they don't talk over
Okay.
each other, so I wouldn't worry about that. Now, advanced classes, you might have that because they might be a little more charged up for that. But usually, if I'll indicate to somebody in the class, oh, what do you think about this, blah blah blah, and then they'll respond, and then I'll ask somebody else. So. But generally speaking, no, they don't talk over each other because they don't even talk sometimes.
Yeah. I just want to say, I just want to say that I looked at the digital books for this semester, and they're on PowerPoints, PPTs.
Right. Okay.
And a lot of them already have the answers filled in.
Oh.
So they're good for going through the answers, but they're not really good for showing the blank questions.
Okay. I have not actually opened these up yet. That's one of my weekend tasks, is to get these uploaded on my computer. Which books are you using, if you don't mind me asking?
I've got English now and Breakthrough Plus.
Okay, Breakthrough Plus I've got. Yeah, I can't answer that question yet. Generally speaking, though, there is a student version of the ebook that does not have the answers on it. At least that has been the case in previous years. So what I will do is I will go in and see if I can find those specific files, and I will let you know what that.
I want to show them the blank page. I don't want to show them the answers until they do it themselves.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. That's a good little note for anybody out there, and I will get on that, do diligently as best I can to help you with that.
Thank you.
But yeah, having the digital book is amazing, and it means that the students don't need to worry about buying one. It's not a big deal. Last semester, I told my students at the beginning, don't buy the book. I've got it here. It's no big deal. I did have a few keeners who did go ahead and buy the book, and that was fine. It was no problem. The other thing that's also very, very handy is if you want them to, let's say, do a review for the, like maybe a little quiz, because we have a quiz, or you want them to have to review the material for the final exam, what you can do is you can screenshot, just have it up on your monitor, take a screenshot. All of those screenshots are going to be in a file on your computer. You upload those to LMS, and then there's no reason why the students can't look at those files.
Screenshots are good.
Yeah. As a study aid, the screenshots can be very, very helpful. I did that for all of the classes, but for when you're doing a live stream and you're doing something a little bit more in terms of synchronous learning, this is a very, very good way of doing that. The other thing that I would suggest is to actually do 2 or 3 lessons or 2 or 3 units without doing the listening. This is a personal thing for me, but this is what I do. What I do is I do a listening dump. And I take about 30 minutes and I do all the listening that they need to get prepared for the final exam. And I do that 2 times during the semester.
Okay.
Once probably around midterm time, or maybe a bit before, and then the other probably in about week 14, week 13, something like that, and give them their second listening dump. The reason I do that is because they're listening to me the entire semester. And if they can understand me, they'll probably be able to understand this. So that's why I do that. But that material is there for them. And I also do upload the listening exercises with the screenshot of the listening page onto their LMS as well, so that they can then go and do those listening exercises on their own for follow-up study as well.
Yeah,
so
that's a good idea. I upload the MP3s.
yeah. So I hit them kind of, with a 1-2 punch, so to speak, with the listening, and that gives them the ability to do some self-study with that listening for the final exam. If you actually did a listening exam for the final, I don't know if you did. I did.
Yes, I did.
Okay, that's cool. I didn't actually. I did. I just decided to do the one-on-one interview, and did it that way. And I think for students, I think it was a lot less stressful, and it actually gave me the ability to provide higher scores for the students.
But actually, I did it online using LMS, and it worked pretty well.
Okay. Yeah, I know that there was a lot of people that did it that way. So I'm thinking maybe I might try that a bit different this semester. I might try to go ahead with the actual listening exercise for the final exam. We shall see.
Yeah.
Depends on how long we're actually doing this for.
Exactly. We could be back to normal. You never know.
I don't think we're going to be back to normal within a week.
Not.
I would say at least, at the very minimum, I would say we'd be back to normal in about a month. So I would be planning, personally speaking, I would be planning for at least 4 full weeks of online classes.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, even though the university only says 1 week, we know how that goes. We can see the numbers.
Because in Australia, they're in lockdown for at least 6 weeks. So it takes 6 weeks for the lockdown to have an effect.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's. I doubt it's going to be. I doubt it's going to be 4 days of school.
Yes.
Yeah. But okay. So does everything there make sense in terms of how I've laid that out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good.
I just have a question about links.
Absolutely. Yes.
How do you set up a meeting? Do you need a link for every meeting that you schedule?
No, you don't. What you can do is you will have one link, and you put that same link into each of your LMS classes. Mm-hmm. And you just say, this is the link you use. Click on that and you'll be automatically invited into the class.
So it's the same link for every class. You don't need to change the links.
You can, but I would advise against it. It makes things a lot more complicated for you and for them. It's more complicated on our end, to be quite honest. Having a single link for all 6 classes, they know what time their class is. They know what time the Zoom room opens. I open mine 15 minutes before the class so that I can chit-chat with my students if they come in early and hang out with them. And then that Zoom class is open. We close it off. My class at 1 p.m. comes in and they're using exactly the same link. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
How do you set up the link? Can you show us?
Yes. Let me see here. Okay, I want that one. Where is it here? Oh, it doesn't come up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain this. It's going to go on to the other video recording.
Okay.
So you can actually click on this little button here, and I think it's in. Let me find it here. Oh, wait. Nope. It's up here. Yes. Okay, I can share it. Woohoo! There we go. All right, so I'm going to screen share the this thing here. Oh, that did not work. Nope. That didn't work. Okay, you might be able to see up on the top right corner, or sorry, the top left corner. There's a little circle up on the top left corner. Do you see that?
Yes.
And it says, if you put your mouse over that, it says meeting information.
Yes, yes.
If you click on that, there's a little pop-up, and it says copy link. And you just click on that, and then you can upload that link to each of your Zoom classes. All right, so that's one way of doing it. The other way of doing that is actually in your little Zoom screen. It's a little white box about this big.
Yes.
I'm going to bring that up actually for the recording. This little join button, you can click on that, and that will bring it up there. And if you go to the screen, it says meetings up at the top, and you can copy invitation right from there as well. And the fourth way that you can do that is by going into your actual web settings, like your browser settings, and that information is also there as well. So there's about 3 or 4 different ways that you can copy that link and pop it into your LMS class. On that note, what I would also recommend is doing a little Zoom tutorial for your students. Either throw an existing YouTube link that's already there to kind of how do you sign up, how do you log in.
Oh, okay.
You know, do something like that.
Yeah.
Yes, do something like that for your students, because then you'll teach yourself how to do it, and then you'll have to teach the students how to do it, so it reinforces all of that information. So yeah, take some time, play around with the system a little bit, and record that.
But I think a lot of the students already know about Zoom, don't they?
A lot of them already will, but it's best to make sure we're covering our bases just to make sure.
Yes.
So, yeah, just to make sure. Okay, those are very excellent questions, Louise. Thank you so much. It's so nice to have a Zoom class where my students are actually talking back. Because on Tuesday, this ain't going to happen. They're all going to look so innocent and wild-eyed and afraid to all hell. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is, and I think I'm going to make this the last thing because I don't want this to go over an hour long. Then we did this yesterday, and that is breakout rooms. Now, breakout rooms are something you're not going to actually have this button on your screen because you're not the host. But if you look down at the bottom of your Zoom screen, you're going to see security, participants, chat. You're going to see pause, record, and then you're going to see reactions down at the bottom. When you're hosting, you're going to see the share screen. It's going to be highlighted in green, and it's right in the middle of those icons. And then your breakout room is going to be, whoa, oh, there we go. That was not expected at all. Let me guess, Kevin, yeah, you did that. You're such a smart.
No, because you said that we don't have that little green button that says share screen.
Oh, but do you now?
We do, and
Okay.
actually, I've been wanting to hit it for a long time just to see what happened, and I didn't expect that it would, because you said it wouldn't work, so I didn't expect that it would work.
Okay.
But it does indeed work, which means, and so I gave me a whole bunch of things that I could share, and I hit whiteboard, and that's what I just did. So now I guess I can just hit stop share.
Yep.
I think actually some of the other participants may want to try this just to see how it works if
Yep.
you have this little button. But and now it went away, right?
Yep, it went away.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, that's kind of awesome. If you just hover down below, it says share screen in green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess the host has allowed us to share screens.
That's right.
And
That's what I did. Yeah. That was
So you
part of
can,
the that was part of the settings that I enabled so that students could also do that. Now, the reason why that is good and really, really helpful is it allows us to brainstorm at the same time in the same room. And it allows us to do, you can use your mouse and you can write something, or you can also use the text box and you can type something into the text box. You can move that around. It also means that you'll notice that my name was actually attached to what I was writing, which means that I know, oh, blah, blah, blah said this, or blah, blah, blah typed this. So that's something that can be very, very valuable. Now, there's one thing that you need to know about that. People who are using their phone to see your Zoom class will not have that function. That is a PC or Mac function only. So they will be able to see it, but they will not be able to respond because they don't have it's mobile applications. The mobile application is not permitted by Zoom to have that. It's not even part of the program. So this is why I recommend my students to be using a laptop or a desktop if they can. If they do not have those tools, then a mobile device is just fine. But a mobile phone or a tablet, they're not able to see that, or they're not able to use that. So the other really good thing about this is when we go into breakout rooms will allow you to, I will be able to, let's say, I've given you a question and I've got 15 students in my class. And I have divided 15 students into groups of 3. So I have
the group work.
5 separate groups going on simultaneously. And those groups are not seeing each other. But what they are doing is that share screen has been allowed to is activated. So when they're in their breakout room, all of them can then write down their answers. Now, this is very effective because it allows for accountability in the breakout room, so that when they come back, you can see the work that they've done. And if their breakout room whiteboard is empty, you know that all they've done is left the computer and they don't have anything. So you can hold the students accountable for doing the work that's necessary. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you into a breakout room. So let me, breakout room, there we go. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make one breakout room and the 3 of you are going to go in there. And I'm going to join as the 4th person and I'm going to instruct you in the breakout room. So give us a second. Let's see, create rooms. There we go. And open all rooms. They should automatically take you in there. If it doesn't, click on the join button and it will take you into the room.
Join.
Yeah, go ahead and join. So you're going to leave me and go to the next room. There we go. Okay. So now, because I'm recording on the second program, I can actually go in and join that second group. So let me join.
Oh, here he is.
There we are.
This
Okay.
meeting is being recorded.
Okay, so we are now in the breakout room. So the main room, nothing is being recorded in there, but the breakout room is now being recorded because I'm here. So anytime I go to a breakout room that little notification, this meeting is being recorded, will pop up. Okay, so that's how that works. Now, in the breakout room, let's say I'm taking the lead in the breakout room. I want to share the whiteboard. And now I am I'm still in the breakout room, but now we have a whiteboard that all of us can interact with. Okay? Now you're going to see that you have, at the top of the page here, you're going to see a little annotation bar that comes up. It says select, text, draw, stamp, spotlight, erase, format, undo, redo, clear, save, etc. Do you see all of that at the top?
No.
No.
No. Okay. So let me
View options. Okay.
view. It might not have that for me. If you go into the more, if you see where it said that there's the three little dots and it says more.
Up at the top, where it says view options, if you click on that, that's where you get all the annotate.
There it is. Okay, good.
Okay.
Yes,
I've got
view
it.
options. Yeah. I didn't have that here because I'm the one hosting and I don't see that. So now what we can do, oh, there we go. So now let's say if there's a question that we have that I've posted and I want my students to, kind of collaborate together in giving me some answers, then it will, whoa, yep, that's true too. that will give me the ability to, again, double check their work. Now, what the whiteboard needs to be saved in order to be used in the regular classroom. So what we would do is there's going to be a save button. So as I'm the one that's hosting it, because I came in and I started the share screen, there's going to be a save button. And this is going to come up and it says saved as PNG, show in folder. Now, so there it is there. So I've saved that in folder. Now you're going to want to kind of teach the students how to do this. So you're going to want to go into a breakout room. You're going to want to take them in there and you're going to want to show them how this works. So I have saved it and it's now in the folder, in my Zoom folder on my computer. And now we're going to actually leave the breakout room and go back to the main room. So we're going to do this and I'm going to stop share. We're going to pop back in, stop share there. And then we're going to leave room and leave breakout room and we're all going to go back.
This meeting is being recorded.
There we go.
So we also had to leave.
Yes. That's what I was wanting you to do. Sorry, I didn't explain that enough. But
We
yeah.
had to walk down the hall.
Yeah, that's right. Now, that whiteboard doesn't exist anymore because the breakout room doesn't exist anymore. However, I saved it. So, what I'm going to do is okay, so that folder, there's a little icon that drops down. When you hit the save button, it drops down, and there's a little hyperlink. It says Open in folder. You want to click that right away because then you will automatically have the folder pop up and you will see the photo that you have saved. And now I can go to share screen. And now you are able to see in the main room what it is that we've done. So by allowing the students to go in and use the whiteboard, they can write down the notes that they have done. The person who is using the whiteboard controls the whiteboard, needs to save the whiteboard, and then that breakout captain comes back and shares it for everybody to see. So it's a way, again, it's a way for students to be kept kind of, it's a way for you to know that they're doing the job that you've asked them to do in breakout rooms. Because it is kind of...
You can't monitor them, really.
No.
Like you can in class.
Yeah, you can go into the breakout room and then leave and go to the next one. Mm-hmm. And I do that fairly frequently as well, especially just at the beginning. Does everybody understand? Oh, by the way, blah, blah, blah. Gee, you're the captain, so you need to get things started. Go ahead, click the button, etc. And then once you do that, then you go to the next class and you give the same instructions again within the breakout room so that each team knows what to do. And then they'll be able to, they'll have an explanation within that process. The first couple of times, it probably won't work that well. But do it 3 or 4 times during the same class to reinforce that, and then the students will just get better and better at it as they go through that class.
Question. I want to use breakout rooms for speaking activities, so maybe pairing students up, do a question and answer interview. Can you show them your question in the breakout room?
What I would do is this is what I do. There's probably different ways of doing this, but what I do is I write the question in general chat. This is today's starter question. Okay, so I just type that in there because I want everybody to work on the same question. So in a sense, like, if you're having that pair interview, generally speaking, you're going to have the same question for everybody in the class. So then you can what am I trying to say? So then everybody knows the question. They go off into the breakout rooms. They come back, and then you can ask them individually through what their answers are.
I always ask them a random question so that I can test that they've been practicing.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the 3 big things that I wanted to show you today. Those are, I think, the kind of the quintessential elements of Zoom for us as teachers, especially if we're just beginning. There's all sorts of other stuff that we can have that gets us into the weeds, but I don't think for our purposes right now we don't really need that. Mm-hmm. So, yes, Kevin.
One thing I noticed is that I had a hard time joining this meeting because you posted the meeting as a web link on Facebook, right?
Okay.
And a strange thing happened in that link didn't work on some browsers and it did on others. So I had to log off Facebook. For instance, it wouldn't work on Chrome. I had to log off Facebook, log on Safari, and then I could click the link and join.
Oh.
So I wonder if it isn't worthwhile, even if you post the link, to also just post the meeting ID number separately, because perhaps some students will be like just frantically banging the mouse like I was and wondering why it wasn't working. So.
Right. Okay. I think we just lost Robert. Oh well, sorry about that. I did not do that. I did not kick him out of the room. I think he had to go, actually. Yeah, I will. That's certainly one thing. It might be an Apple thing, because I know you're on a an iMac, or not an iMac, a Mac Pro or something. So that might be a Mac thing.
It worked on Firefox, it worked on Safari, but it wouldn't work on Chrome no matter how hard I pushed the button.
Okay.
So.
Generally speaking, what happens is if you have Zoom downloaded onto your computer, it will not open up in a browser.
Yeah.
It will
when
open.
It did work. It opened up my Zoom application.
Yes, that's what it should do. So it might have been that there was an issue with you using Chrome. When you switched to Safari, then it worked, because Safari's like the main web browser for an Apple product. So that might be something there too. Yeah.
So just one more thing, the chat. So they can see the chat whether they're in the main room or the breakout room.
No, the chat is only going to be for the main room.
Okay.
Now you can go into the, but what I can do is when the students are in a breakout room, I can send a message out to everybody simultaneously. So let me show you that, because I'm going to put you into breakout rooms again. I'll send you the message. Just a second. Hang on, there we go. Okay. All right, so pop into the breakout room there.
Okay.
There we go. So on the bottom of that little breakout rooms icon, a little square that comes up, on the bottom left corner, it says something about message to all breakout rooms or something, and then that just flashes out. So what you can do, give 30 seconds for everybody to get situated, and then pop that question out again in that little message window, and people should be able to see that.
Yeah, that's good. I really want to communicate with them, you know, when they're in their breakout rooms easily.
Yeah. Alrighty. Yeah, that's all I've got for today. It's just after 12 o'clock, and I don't want to keep you too much longer. You know, it's a Saturday. You don't want to be doing this on your Saturday, do you? I mean, I do. I don't mind it. But you might have other plans. Now, I do have a class starting at 1 o'clock that will detail some of the stuff in Google Meet, although that Google Meet is a much, much easier program to use. So if you're familiar enough with Zoom, you'll probably be able to handle Google Meet without a problem. But that starts at 1 o'clock. If you want to come back for that, by all means, I will have the Google Meet link for you in the Facebook page, the DCU Facebook page. It will be there for you as well.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. And you don't need to download anything for the Google Meet class like you do with Zoom. There's no additional programs because it runs through the Google kind of extension system, so there's no problems there. All right. Kevin, do you have any follow-up questions? Anything that you...
No, I like to keep these sessions quite short. I think there's only so much new information I can process with my tiny pea-sized brain in one session. And today you answered some major questions especially my question about doing the projecting the PPT and playing back audio and all that. So
Right.
I feel like already, like breakout rooms and all that, if we do breakout rooms, that's not going to be until like week 2 or 3 for me. So I'm fine. I think it was great. This was super duper helpful.
Okay.
I'm happy to just sort of end it here.
Okay, great. That's excellent. Thank you. I appreciate. I'm so glad that this has helped you guys. Even if it helps 1 or 2 or 3 people, yeah, my job's done. I'm good. I'm golden.
Thanks for your time.
No problem at all. No problem at all. So if I see you at 1 o'clock, great. If not, have a wonderful weekend.
I'm going shopping now, so
All right.
I won't see you. But thanks
All right.
anyway.
All right, no problem. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend. Bye bye. I'll see you
Bye.
soon.